Andrew Linfoot with the Purdue Entrepreneurship Club. We're really excited to have you guys all here today. First off, before we get started, I have to thank our sponsors, Dell. They hooked it up big time, so for those of you who got free books, thank Dell. Also, thank Purdue SOGA grants. We couldn't have done this without them. Huge help. And so, obviously, you guys don't want to hear me talk, so let me introduce to you Alexis Ohanian, the founder of Reddit, Hipmunk, Bread Pig, entrepreneur, and also recent author of best-selling book, Without Their Permission.
Hello. What's up, Purdue? Beautiful weather we're having here. Jeez, lovely. I actually saw on the R Purdue subreddit, it's now officially been declared that there may be a winter advisory in effect for this region. You guys don't mess around though, I like that. The fact that you all are here, despite everything that is happening outside right now, is awesome, so thank you. I mean, I do question your judgment, but fine. You're here, so not much more you can do. So this talk, it's about being awesome without their permission, and as this slide behind me indicates, I want you all to use this hashtag, WTPBook, whether you want to use it on Facebook or Twitter or Google+, well, all right, no one uses Google+, but whatever social media you want to use it for, please use it. Please, I notice a lot of you have your phones out. Now is the time to keep them out, and if you haven't got it out, take it out, because I actually encourage laptops, mobile devices, whatever you want to use during this talk, please do, even if you just want to ignore me and read Reddit. That's fine, and frankly, I probably deserve it. But what am I talking about? First, I got to get something out of the way real quick. So I have never been to Purdue before, but I'm a die-hard Redskins fan. You'll see how this connects. And one of your own, a fabulous Boilermaker, Ryan Kerrigan, is one of my favorite players on the team. And so I feel like a part of me is already here in spirit because one of your finest helps chase down quarterbacks for one of my favorite football teams. So thank you. One of the things I got to learn in doing research for this was about mascots, because you see, I am kind of known for creating mascots for everything that I do. It's not required, I just love it. I can't help it. I like drawing cute little mascots. The Reddit alien actually happened because I was bored my senior year of college. I was just drawing it in the margins, and I went home that night and opened up a cracked copy of Paint Shop Pro 5. I was a college student. So in my cracked copy of Paint Shop Pro 5, I created the Reddit alien, and I knew this was going to be our mascot. We were going to call the website Snoo back then, SNOO.com. We couldn't afford the domain name, so we ended up going with Reddit. But the thought was, we would say Snoo.com, check it out. And people would ask, oh, what's Snoo? And we'd say, exactly. And that didn't work out. Like I said, we couldn't afford the domain, probably not the best idea. Instead, went with Reddit, as in like I read it on Reddit. I don't actually know if anyone has ever said that, but it's heartening to know that maybe, actually, how many of you are Redditors, just by show of hands? Wow, awesome, thank you. Upvote, 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 upvote. You've also identified yourselves as the least productive people at Purdue, so.
Yep, pretty much.
There's that, sorry, not sorry about your GPAs. No, it's been a thrill, and like I said, mascots are not required, I just love them. And one of the fun things I got to learn about was you guys, the Boilermakers. Choo-choo. All right, now a lot of people might be a little confused about the origin of the Boilermakers. So I did a little research and I learned, and it is amazing, it is awesome. So apparently part of the mythology is you guys delivered such a drubbing to a university down the road from here that the reporter described the hoodlums on the football team as Boilermakers, and it was at the time a term of derision, right? They were feeling, this local reporter at that rival school was feeling kind of haughty and was like, oh, those Boilermakers, and amazingly you were like, yeah, you're damn right, that's what we are. And I found it so, like, that's so badass. And I actually found the original quote, it's so good, I don't want to, because it was, yes, the Wabash. This town began referring to the Purdue team as, quote, a great big burly gang. Actually, no, this was 1889, so a great big burly gang of cornhuskers, rail splitters, foundry molders, and log haulers. And then one of them was Boilermakers. And I was like, damn, that's awesome, right? Here's someone trying to hate because of the values of this school, and you just turn that into this strength, right? You turn that into something to be proud of, which is awesome. And look, at the end of the day, no one's gonna fuck with Purdue Pete, because he's holding a sledgehammer. Woo! Now, I know he's not technically the mascot, right? I know that. I did my research. However, you guys didn't try as hard with that costume. No. But that brings up an important point, because one more reason to have a mascot is because you get a cool costume. And when you're in that costume, you can do anything. Anything. This is the Chipmunk in Times Square. And we were out there, and what's so great is, you'll notice, you see the guy, the sword swallower? Yeah, two New York PD are arresting him. Because the cops see a guy with swords, and they're like, let's see a permit. They see a dude in a chipmunk costume, and they're like, keep dancing. You look great, Chipmunk, keep it up. All right, so anyway, if you ever get your hands on a mascot costume, just do whatever you want. Okay? But again, you don't need that for your startup. You don't need that for life. It's just a fun fact. I'm not talking about mascots today, though. I'm talking about the world. The world is awesome, isn't it? It's huge. There's a lot of water, a lot of people. One thing, though, the world is not, is flat. Despite what anyone, no matter how compelling their facial hair may say. No, Tom, the world is not flat. But the World Wide Web is. Right? As long as we have net neutrality, as long as all bits are created equal, it is the world's largest stage and library in one. And it is truly powerful. Like a kind of power that you can barely comprehend. Not unlike the Power Glove, which actually you can't comprehend because it was a terrible way to play video games. But it's neither here nor there. This is a power, and this is a resource that you all have access to. I'm jealous of it. Because 8 years ago, when I was at the University of Virginia, right, only 8 years ago, YouTube did not even exist. Yeah, did not even exist. Like, the shoulders and the giants that we stand on are so great. And you guys are in such a great position to take advantage of it. Now, I was lucky, because in middle school, my parents, who didn't really have a ton of money, didn't have a ton of knowledge about technology, they saved up for a computer for me, a 486 SX, and they put it in my room. And they were like, listen, as long as you don't break it, it's yours. Go take it apart, put it back together, just don't break it. And it was amazing. Like, I could play video games on this thing. It was a couple years later that I got an internet connection. It was a 33.6 dial-up. Like, you had to listen to your internet back then, okay? But it was life-changing because all of a sudden I felt like a god among men. I was not worried about going to prom. Yeah, that was freshman year of high school. And look, here's the thing. Realistically, there's a hipster somewhere trying to make this look cool, right? It's coming back. That bowl cut's coming back. But look, the point is, I had this internet connection, and it gave me this power because I could build websites. I could build something that millions of people, tens of people could see anywhere with a connection. And you'll never forget your first. Mine was GeoCities. Oh yes, geocities.com/Silicon Valley/Hills/4924. And it was a Quake 2 fan page. This was the lamest thing ever. Marquee text scrolling, blink text, animated GIFs of flaming skulls, like rocket launchers. This was lame. And even though I had also confused myself, I thought that the counter at the bottom was other people and not just me hitting reload. I still felt great because more and more people kept looking at this thing, and it got me hooked. Like, it wasn't long thereafter I found myself on message boards, messaging nonprofits, not for money, but for the experience of building a website for them. I would just say, hey, do you need someone who can build this thing for you? And they were thrilled. They didn't know that I was just some kid in his parents' house. I was someone with a skill they didn't have that they valued, and it felt amazing. And so I haven't been able to shake it. I've been building things online ever since. And I'll tell you, look, software is eating the world. Mark Andreessen said that in the Wall Street Journal. It's so true. And the internet is the delivery mechanism. And I'm telling you, the incumbents do not know what they're doing. And who could blame them, right? I mean, they just, no matter how they try, there's still a fundamental difference because we have a kind of fluency for this technology that they do not, right? It's because they merely adopted the, I could probably do that better, but I don't want to do the Bane voice, but.
Do the Bane voice.
All right. Let me put on my crab masker. Yeah. They merely adopted the internet. We were born in it, molded by it. So this is important. Oh, thank you. I'm out. Thank you, Purdue. No. Thank you. But really though, it's easy to joke about this. So I'm gonna keep doing it. They really don't get it. You guys all know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly. We've all made that phone call. Who could blame well-intentioned grandma though, right? House of Cards. No spoilers. Okay, no spoilers, please. Orange is the New Black. It's come back for a second season. This is amazing stuff, right? We all wanna be a part of this new thing, but not all of us quite grasp it. It's a different kind of fluency. And it's an advantage that we have. We as a generation have this unique advantage because nearly all of us have been exposed to this technology for so much longer and have a different level of understanding of it. And the perfect illustration of this would be this. So this is a new frontier. No one actually knows where this is all headed, but those of you who are building are not just explorers. You're actually creating this new frontier under our feet, right? So actually, by show of hands, how many of you were learning to code? Yes, excellent, great, congrats. Okay, you were learning the most valuable skill of this century, all right? And for the rest of you, good news, all right? It's also still one of the most accessible, right? Whether it's Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Huffman, my co-founder, like these are people are all largely self-taught using free resources available online. You can go on Codecademy right now and start learning how to code. Start being one of those creators because in this new frontier, we're all explorers, right? You all can be Lewis and Clark. I will be Sacagawea. Don't need to over visualize it, but here's the thing. We can actually create this, right? We can actually not just be exploring this new world, but actually building it. And that's amazing, right? That's an opportunity that previous generations could have only dreamed of because you don't need to wait. You can start right now. And also on that note, quick spoiler, ideas are worthless. Listen, it's nothing personal, right? Everyone thinks they have great ideas, right? No one ever comes running up to you in the middle of the night saying, hold on, I have a terrible idea. Just hear me out. It's awful. You're gonna hate it. No, we all think we have great ideas. But what this technology enables, because the barriers are so low, is for you to get started on it, not to wait, not to just settle with an idea, but actually start building. And that's why the builders have so much power. That's why this book is subtitled, How the 21st Century Will Be Made, Not Managed. But like I said, you can get started right now, and you're such a great time in your lives. Now, I looked into this, okay? I was sitting in an LSAT. I was obsessing over my GPA for 2 years at UVA. And then I wanted to be an immigration lawyer. And I was studying for the LSAT at every chance I could take. And one Saturday morning, way too early, I walked out. I walked out of an LSAT prep class because I wanted to go to Waffle House. It's true. Hopefully you guys know about Waffle House. In the Pacific Northwest, it's sad. Those poor people have never known the joy of a Waffle House. But look, sitting there eating those waffles, I realized, you know what? If I want waffles more than the LSAT, I probably shouldn't be a lawyer. You know, probably let's try another route. And I was lucky because one of my good friends, Steve Huffman, we were always talking about things. We were always talking about things we wanted to build. And finally, I talked him into like starting a company with me. And by our junior year of college, we had our business cards, we had our LLC. We decided what we were going to build. You see, we wanted to eliminate lines. We didn't want people to have to wait in line anymore. They could just take out their phone, place an order, and then when they showed up at the Starbucks or wherever, it would just be waiting for them. They could just pick it up and go. We thought, this is amazing. We're going to call it My Mobile Menu, or We'll workshop it. But here was our vision, and we started. We talked to every restaurateur in Charlottesville. All right, it did not take very long. We talked to everyone, and we started signing them up. We started building the early prototype, and then we heard about this new thing, this brand new thing. It was called Y Combinator. And at the time, it was this very new idea, seed stage venture firm. They would give $6,000 to each founder to do nothing over a summer but write code, get users, and play World of Warcraft. We both hit level 60. The thinking was, this is perfect. Like, we're about to graduate. Here's this new thing. This guy, Paul Graham, started it. We could do this. And so we applied, and we got invited up to an interview, and I'll tell you, we did an awesome job. We crushed it. Oh, it was so good. That night, we were out drinking, celebrating, and we got a call from Y Combinator, and they told us. They said we were rejected. Yeah, there's a lot of schadenfreude out there. Yeah, we got rejected. And good thing we were already drinking, so we just kept doing that. That was helpful. And because we were out in Boston, we bumped into a couple of Harvard students. And these kids, they were just about ready to graduate. They were also a little drunk and a little little braggy because you see, they had just gotten these great job offers at Lehman Brothers, and they were telling everyone. Yeah, I don't know how that worked out for them. But what's more important here is that these Lehman Brothers guys, they were so proud. And in my drunkenness and insecurity, I just blurted out at them, well, Steve and I are starting a company called and we just got into Y Combinator. You wouldn't have heard of it, but yeah, we're in it, and it's really cool. And I felt like such a tool when that came out of my mouth, and so we kept drinking. And also, I realize I'm on a college campus here, and I don't want to be bad influence. Guys, alcohol is not a solution, all right? Technically it is, but you know what I mean. The thing is, we were a little drunk, and that night turned into that morning, and then really hungover on a long train back to Virginia. We get a call, and it's Y Combinator. Like, hello? And they say, listen, we still don't like your idea, but we like you guys. And if you're willing to change your idea, we'll let you in. Don't do mobile, it's still too early. And they were right, it was 2005. So the smartest phone was like a Trio or a BlackBerry. I know, too soon. Oh, BlackBerry. But look, we knew we wanted to be a part of this, and we had a good reason to switch our idea, right? These backers said it was bad. It was too early, and so we said, all right, we're gonna build something in a browser. We're gonna build something that solves our problem every single morning. And Steve was an avid Slashdot reader. I was using this new technology called tabs. Yes, and I have like 20 tabs open on all these new sites, and it was so great. But it wasn't perfect. It wasn't everything we needed to know to find out what was new and interesting online. And so we said, all right, we'll solve that. We'll do that. And so we graduated a few months later and showed up there on the first day of Y Combinator. It's like a freshman photo day. And so we showed up there, they're taking photos, the first ever photo of the founders of Reddit, Steve and Alexis. And you'll notice, we still hadn't built anything yet, but I already had a t-shirt with our mascot on it, which I do not recommend. That is not the right order of operations, but that's what we did. Just keeping it real. The other thing is actually Steve looks the exact same to this day. It's crazy. It's because he's a vampire, but it's crazy. And then the final thing, you may not be able to notice from this photo alone, but you can, thanks to image enhancing software, enhance, is that we had no fucking idea what we were doing. No idea whatsoever, at all. And here's a spoiler, this is a life spoiler, okay? No one does. Anyone who fronts like they have it all figured out is either lying or delusional. Really. I still don't know what I'm doing most of the time. No one does. Experience, expertise, those things help a lot. But really, no one knows what they're doing. So do not let I don't know what I'm doing stop you from figuring it out. Because that's what we all do. That's how we all start. There was not some grand vision where we had this big plan and Steve and I sat down, we had our 8-year roadmap. No. We just wanted to get something out in the world that hopefully someone else liked. And so that was the first version of Reddit. That was it. I took this screenshot minutes after we went live. And you'll notice I made the first submission ever, fun fact. It was the link to the Downing Street memo. And then you'll also notice, if you look there in the back, I have -1 karma. That is because Steve is a dick. And he downvoted first ever submission to Reddit. And it was his best friend and co-founder. And there was only 2 of us. Like, I knew who it was. And we're in the same room, and it's like, really? Really, Steve? That's the kind of guy Steve is. But look, that was it. That was the first version. This is 3 weeks in. We just wanted to build something and get it online. But look, I know what you're all thinking. It looks janky, right? Well, it is. It is. That's okay. This is before minimum viable product was a catchphrase, right? This is just good enough, okay? The first version of everything is janky. All the things you can't live without. This is the first version of Facebook. Let me take you back in time. Janky. The first Twitter? Really janky.
Oh my God.
Seriously? This is a publicly traded company now. That is, like, this alone is gonna make the share price tumble if all those investors figure out this is how it got started. This is how everything gets started though. Even the first Iron Man was janky, right? The Mark I, but it solved a problem, right? It got Tony out of that prison, right? That's what it takes. If it solves a problem in hell, if it's good enough for Tony Stark, it should be good enough for the rest of us. So accept that there's no grade on this, right? It doesn't have to be an A, it just has to be good enough. Something you're proud of. And look, don't daydream about where you might be in 8 years. We were not thinking that Reddit would be bigger than 100 people until we got to 100 users. And we weren't thinking it was going to be bigger than 1,000 until we got to 1,000. Last month, I had 112 million. It's crazy. It's a top 50 website, and it still feels like this random project me and my best friend started right after college. Okay, don't be hung up with where you might be in 8 years. Solve a problem for your first 100 users. Solve your problem for your first 100 customers, the first 100 people to care. Because look, chances are there are going to be other people trying to solve that problem. This was a site called Dig. And oh boy, this was awkward. Because I swear to you, we launched, and about a week later, I first learned about Dig. You see, here was a site that knew how to use CSS, right? This was a site that had a celebrity founder, Kevin Rose. This guy, he announced Dig on his TV show. I mean, he didn't mention it was his website, but still, he announced it on his TV show to all of his followers, to all of his fans. He had Silicon Valley money. Ooh, right? The land of term sheets and unicorns. They had millions of dollars of venture funding, and Steve and I were in a little apartment in a suburb of a suburb of a suburb of Boston called Medford, or Medford, right? That with 12 grand in the bank. And we were two guys who had no idea what we were doing, and we looked over there and we thought, they are doing everything right. They must have it all figured out. That must be the right way. And so I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I was scared. I did not say scared, I said scared. This is next level, okay? And I sent a team-wide email as soon as I found out about Dig to Steve. And we had a very important meeting. You can tell this was serious because the subject line was in all caps. That's how we felt, right? I was worried, but look, we had amazing advisors around us, people like Jessica Livingston, who said, do not care about your competition. Don't pay attention to them for a second, because they will not beat you, you will just beat yourself. Don't pay attention. Do not care. And they were so right? Dig and all the Dig clones are long gone, and Reddit has far eclipsed them, and the only thing we had in our mind whenever one of them came up was no. Just stop. Don't do it. Because the second you're doing that is the second you stop innovating and start copying. And I'll tell you, Grumpy Cat's actually a great role model for this. Let's think about that for a second, right? Grumpy Cat. Every morning, Grumpy Cat has more competition in one day than we will have our entire lives. Because Grumpy has to be better than every cat on the internet.
Oh, God.
Think about that. Do you think Grumpy Cat worries about the competition? No. The Grumpy Cat cared? No. Grumpy Cat ran out of dams to give many years ago. Grumpy Cat ain't got no time for that, all right? Be like Grumpy. Remember that. Grumpy Cat don't care. Why should you? In whatever you're doing, there's probably someone else doing something similar, or there will be shortly thereafter. Because if it's a good enough idea, there are going to be other people. Be great. Don't care about your competitors. Care about the people who do use what you've built, who buy from your Etsy store, who back your Kickstarter. Your firsts are golden. You know who this guy is? Andrew? You probably don't, because he was some random dude with a blog. This is before social media. So the only way random people posted how they felt about the world was through a blog. And Andrew here, he probably had 10 visitors on his site all year. But 2 of them were me and Steve. That's us in the comments. Now, why is this blog special? This is the first ever blog post about Reddit. Andrew, not TechCrunch. It took TechCrunch 18 months to write about us. And then for the next 6 years, all they did was write about how we were doomed to fail. All right, Andrew was the first guy who cared about what we made, and that was awesome, because no one will care. All right, only your mom will care, because moms are amazing. But everyone else needs to be convinced, every single other person. And so when you find someone who's willing to back you or support you in whatever shape or form might be, please treat them well. Like Steve is giving this guy tech support in the comments of his blog. Like I said, this guy probably had 10 readers all year. Do you want to know how much he meant to me with his 10 readers all year? I didn't take these screenshots 8 years ago. I took these screenshots a few months ago because I found his blog. It's long gone, but I found it in the Wayback Machine because I remembered enough about this random dude named Andrew's blog to find it 8 years later.
Seriously, this guy is a hero to me, and I don't know who the hell he is. I still don't know. But he was the first person to ever care about something we had made, and it felt amazing. Support them. Support those people. There are more ways than ever, thanks to social media, to do that. And I mentioned waffles earlier. They mean a lot to me. You don't have to go to Waffle House and just saying it's great for its waffles and its epiphanies. But on top of that, one of the things that I will never forget happened 4 months into Reddit. Steve and I, again in that little suburb in Medford, were invited out to Silicon Valley. It was our first trip ever to Silicon Valley. We were so excited. And it was a company called Yahoo that invited us. Yes, Yahoo, you guys know Yahoo. Yeah. So they invited us out and we were thrilled, right? Holy shit, we're going to the Valley, man. We're gonna meet with Yahoo. And this executive, he sat us down, he brought his whole team, and he said, tell us about Reddit. So we're like, okay, yeah, sure. So we got into it and he just cuts us off. He's like, hold on, just hold on. How much traffic do you guys have anyway? I'm like, well, we just launched a few months ago, but it's growing week over week, probably 10 or 12,000 users. And he laughs at us. He's like, oh, you guys are a rounding error compared to Yahoo. What are you even doing here? You invited us. Like, is that like a thing you guys do at Yahoo, where you just invite a startup to make fun of them? Like, doesn't seem very nice. Anyway, the meeting did not go well, as you can imagine. So we went back to Boston, and the next morning I printed something out and put it on my wall. It was just a few words. It was, you are a rounding error. And I put it up on my wall next to my desk because every morning I wanted to know exactly who Steve and I were proving wrong. And this became my wall of negative reinforcement. I still have one. Now it's in Dropbox. But I started adding to this. and started eating it up because look, this guy is still in tech. I never name him, but I want to meet him. I'm sure he doesn't remember this meeting, but I remember it. I think about it every single day. And I want to meet this guy again, and I want to thank him because for the last 8 years, he has provided me with so much motivation and so much ammunition, and I'm so grateful for it. Okay, because look, there are going to be constructive critics who are amazing. They are invaluable. They're the ones you need to force you to improve and get better and keep it real, okay? But then there are going to be haters, right? Haters going to hate, scientifically proven. But do not let them stop you. Do not let them hold you back. Eat them for breakfast, like waffles. Or use them as whatever motivation it takes to get you going. Because look, that's going to be a part of life. But look, be the honey badger. Okay, honey badger don't give a shit. No. Keep being great. Keep working on the things that you want to work on that you're proud of, and use it as motivation. Use it as fuel. Because now, like I said, now is the time to get started on this stuff. One of my favorite stories, or my favorite profiles that I wish I'd put in the book, but I wasn't able to, was this young woman named Maya. So Maya's got this website. She's been running it for about the last 6 years. And she started an apparel line. It's an eco-friendly apparel line. She's also had so much success with that. She started a nonprofit. She had so much success from that. She was giving TED Talks. I saw her most recently at TED Women. And I was just so blown away. Like, here is someone using the internet to be awesome. Oh, and of course, she's also 14 years old, which is even cooler. I mean, it really makes me feel like I wasted most of my youth. But the point is, people like Maya get me so excited and hopeful because she is reaching her maximum potential for awesome thanks to the internet, right? She wanted to start a nonprofit, so she figured it out and she did it. She wanted to start a fashion line, so she figured it out and did it. She's had so much success, and I know that there are so many more Mayas who haven't even had it yet, and so many more in history that we never got a chance to benefit from, but so many more will get to. And it's not just young bloods either, right? There's Lester Chambers. You might have seen the clip a little earlier. Lester is a music legend. He was a member of the Chambers Brothers for decades, made hit records, but never got paid because the record companies didn't pay him. He signed bad deals. And I know it's shocking to imagine the record companies taking advantage of artists. That's what they did. And you can't do anything about it. Like, the internet's not a magic wand that's going to undo what happened. But when Lester put this photo online of his gold record and told his story to the world, millions of people all over the world responded and said, Lester, what can we do to help? Twitter, Facebook, it was #1 on the R Music subreddit. They all said, what can we do to help? And he tried a new little website called Kickstarter and raised $60,000 for the first album of his life that he actually owned. That he got a relationship directly with his fans without a parasitic middleman, thanks to this technology. And what's so cool is this didn't even exist 5 years ago. Kickstarter's about to pass $1 billion from people like us to other people like us with creative projects or for creative projects. And this didn't even exist 5 years ago, and it's happening right now. And it's not an end point, but it's a beginning. It's an example for musicians and artists and creatives, or for people with great ideas to go forward and see a new way that's not the traditional model, that's actually empowering. But now is the time to start doing it. What do you want to learn? What do you want to start doing? Start doing it now while you have the relative safety net of school, when you don't have people dependent on you, when actually, yes, failure is an option. It is. It is. Because look, you guys are all here because you're good at not failing. Right? You're good at passing tests, you're good at getting the right grades, advancing to the next level, but after college, there's no more GPA. There's no more grades. There's plenty of failures, there's plenty of setbacks, there's plenty of things that don't work out as you would have hoped, and that's if you're an entrepreneur or not. But that's okay, it is an option, because sucking is the first step to being sort of good at something. Venture Time knows, right? We all suck when we start anything new. No one starts out great at it. Seriously, if you remember nothing else, just remember, go forth and suck. Don't take that out of context, but you know what I mean. Or whatever. Live your life, Purdue. Go for it. YOLO. Yeah. Go forth and suck. Like, really though. Now is the time to be trying this new stuff, because you have these opportunities. You're surrounded by other people who are hungry to learn and to do. And look, one of my favorite examples of this is not even an entrepreneur in the startup sense, okay? This is a dude who, I'll tell you, so he failed out of the University of Georgia, couldn't hold a job afterwards. He was bounced around, I think he was in Applebee's for a little bit, held a couple other jobs, and like by all accounts, was a total failure. His friends and family were worried because he just could not do anything right. And a few years ago, he decided to get a camera, and here was his big plan. He was gonna move to New York. And his friends and family were like, dude, you suck at photography. This is a terrible plan. Like, you're gonna move and do what? You're gonna take pictures? Really? This is your plan. Like, all right, good luck. They wanted to be supportive, but they knew this guy. Come on, he's failed at everything he's done. No chance. But he goes up there and, he sucks. I mean, make no mistake, he's bad at photography, all right? He's pretty bad at it, but he keeps working at it. He starts a Tumblr. He starts taking these photos every day. He starts finding inspiration from other photographers online. And he starts talking to the people he photographs, and over time, a few months turn into a few years. And what's so crazy is, again, 3 years ago, that person was a total failure, and today is Humans of New York. Brandon Stanton, 3 years ago, was by all accounts a total failure, who had no business picking up a camera, and today he's one of the best known photographers in the world. Millions of people see this dude's photos every day. He's a #1 New York Times bestseller like 100 times over. And he is living his passion. Like, he is improving his own life and the lives of every person he touches through his art. And did I mention making a living from it? Like, as a photographer, I don't know how this story could have happened without the connected web. I don't know. I don't think it's possible, right? But it is now. And it's one example of many, like Maya, like Lester, like my own. But the fact is, this is a very empowering platform. Makes me really happy, like this cat. And it's not just empowering for cats either, it's empowering for us. Yay internet, right? This is boundless opportunity and potential. That's the very nature of innovation. But none of it is guaranteed, right? None of it is guaranteed. We saw it come under fire during SOPA PIPA. It's still under fire as net neutrality is threatened because of things like TPP and NSA surveillance. Like, the reality is this amazing platform doesn't necessarily end up being a happy ending. It doesn't, but it's up to us. No pressure. It's up to us to make sure that things work out, because look, there are still millions of Americans who don't have access to broadband. They're still using dial-up internet because they live in rural America. There are millions more who have to take their kids to McDonald's for the free Wi-Fi because they can't afford it, and yet we live in a country where we assume every American should have a reasonable chance at electricity, right? Why not a reasonable chance at internet, given what that platform can do? There's a ways to go, and we could still screw it up. But I know that this generation in particular is more capable than any of the ones before to make sure that we don't. And so it's like I said, it's a process. But the end result can mean every one of us getting a chance to actually reach our maximum potential for awesome. Like, actually get the access to the knowledge. Remember, the world's largest stage and library in one, and the access to share it. And that keeps me hopeful. That makes me want to do this crazy 200-stop tour, because I want to knock this word off of its pedestal. I don't actually know what it means in French, so sorry. But what I wish it meant is to just have ideas and do them. That's entrepreneurship. It's not like there are special people over here who are entrepreneurs and there's everyone else. Being entrepreneurial, having ideas and doing them is a muscle that you can be exercising right now while you're in school. That doesn't have to end when you leave. That doesn't have to be something you do as a founder. This is what makes me want to invest in your company as a founder, but also makes me want to hire you or work with you. This is the skill set, the most basic fundamental thing the internet enables, right? What do you want to learn today? It doesn't have to be Python or Ruby on Rails. It could be knitting. Like seriously, do not sleep on the knitting communities of the internet. They're amazing. Our knitting, for example. Like top flight knitting videos are accessible now from some of the world's best knitters, right? This is an opportunity to learn whatever it is you want. Find that passion. And the reason I'm doing this tour, and the reason 77 of those 200 stops are at universities, is because I want this message to be everywhere. And also, just so you know, those books are not to scale. That would be terrifying. No. But one of the things I believe all of you were provided with was a postcard. You guys have those postcards? Now, I know this is sort of antiquated technology, but hear me out. What I want to do is, when you get a chance after this, write down your address. I'm not going to use it for anything, all right? But write down your address and then what you want to have accomplished by the time I'm done with this tour. You see, I'll be back in April. I'll be back in Brooklyn. And as long as the Postal Service is still around, I will mail these back to you. And so you'll get this mail and you'll be like, the hell is it? Oh yeah. And you'll look. It'll be a note from your past self. And hopefully, you'll have challenged yourself, remember, have ideas and do them, to do something that you'll have accomplished in the next month and a half, in the next 2 months before the semester ends, and have done it. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I did finally launch that Kickstarter. Oh yeah, I did finally open my Etsy store. Oh yeah, I did finally learn, whatever it is. And then you'll dust your shoulders off and feel really great, and then move on to the next thing, the next idea you have that you want to do. Right? Get into that habit. Let me help you with these postcards. Then when you come out after this, just hand them to one of my posse members. Now look, there's one other thing, because I'd be remiss as the ambassador for Y Combinator not mention, this thing changed my life, right? The opportunity I got through YC has given me all of the opportunity that I've had today. And so what I want to do is, if you all are at all interested in applying to Y Combinator to be a YC founder, or to work at a YC company, or to intern at a YC company, email me. Just join at my name, Alexis Ohanian. It's a little long and ethnic, but yayarmenians.com, okay? And then these are just a few of the Y Combinator companies people probably best know the firm for. But look, this is the time, all right? And every single one of you that gets to reach your maximum potential for awesome is one more example that I get to use when I'm talking to a politician or a journalist about what this generation is not only capable of doing, but actually doing. And on that note, the reason I visit these universities, because like I said, you guys are such a great opportunity in your lives. And the reason why at every one of these stops I bring up an alum is because I know if you can't take my word for it, fine. But if I bring up a Boilermaker who was probably sitting in this same auditorium at one point, who's gone on to do amazing things online, well, what can you say to that, right? What else can you say? So on that note, I want to bring up Kenny Stone. Kenny, come on up here. Ta-da! You guys can clap too. All right. Welcome, Kenny.
Thank you.
I want to make sure the fire is ready. There we go. Okay, good. Man, we can warm ourselves on this chilly February. All right, no way. So Kenny, first and foremost, I have to start this out properly. What was your favorite place to drink while you were here at Purdue?
I mean, at Purdue, there's really only one good bar, I think, and it's Harry's Chocolate Shop.
You guys are there? And I've heard.
Everywhere else is like a college bar, questionable.
I see. So I've heard their chocolate is amazing. Harry's. And wait, but it's a speakeasy, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been around forever, basically, and it's going to be here forever, I think.
I feel like there's all kinds of illicit things going on that you can't discuss on stage. But it sounds amazing. All right, all right, so we got that out of the way. This is fundamental. But while you were a student here, were you aspiring, like, did you know, as soon as you showed up here, did you know, yep, entrepreneurship, this is what I'm doing?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think, like a lot of people, I would go to the big job fairs at Purdue and I would dream of working for Apple or for Google. Facebook didn't exist, so it was like Apple and Google and Microsoft. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
No. I definitely stood in a long line to give my resume to the dudes at Microsoft.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship, it was not a thing for me at all. And I had 2 jobs before PlanGrid, right? 2 questionable jobs before starting my company. So, it wasn't on my mind even in the slightest. We didn't have people like Alexis Ohanian coming and inspiring us.
Oh, go on.
Back then.
well, but this is, in many ways, like, the reason I'm doing this is because I didn't get it either. And I would have killed, like, you guys don't realize how good you have it, okay? Take advantage of this stuff. But wait, so let's talk about that. So instead, what was your major?
Computer engineering.
So you were in computer engineering. And then talk about, so you took the road often traveled.
That's right.
Talk about those couple of jobs and then what made you finally want to do a company?
So my first job was at this place called Tell Labs, which is, a big NASDAQ company that actually started by a Boilermaker. I think the golf complex at Purdue is named after him. So yeah, I know. So this job, the big thing I learned at this job was you go there and it's a very cushy thing. Like you get a good salary, you get good benefits. It's very cushy. Like the work was challenging, but the deadlines were pretty cushy. This is a big place, thousands of employees, and there was no like personal growth happening there. It was like I show up to work, I do my thing, and I go home, and it was just like not even slightly inspiring at all. And so there's this test, I think, that I found out at PlanGrid now, in hindsight. It's like I would push out my little unit of work at Tell Labs during my 2 hours of actual work time there every day.
Wait, what were you doing when you weren't working? Because there was no Reddit.
There was no, I don't know how actually surfing worked before Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yahoo? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There were these things called internet message boards, forums.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The precursor. Oh, yeah.
The precursor, yeah.
Oh, sorry. So you're pushing the 2 hour increments.
Like 2 hour units of work, and I was getting stellar reviews from those 2 hours, by the way. And this is a successful company. There's nothing wrong with Tell Labs. But like, I push a unit of work, and like, there's nothing that happens inside. Like there's no nervousness. It's like when I'm at PlanGrid and I push out a new feature, or I push out a new thing, like I feel it in my gut. It's like I'm nervous. Like, are they gonna hate it? Are they gonna like it? And I get this immediate feedback. Like you want people to care about what you're doing, and then you yourself need to care about what you're doing. And Tell Labs was just like, there was 8 layers of management and QA and whatever before the dude using my code ever got back to me. Like, would be some support ticket or something, maybe.
Well, so then what finally convinced you? Yeah, I'll be an entrepreneur.
I mean, it was luck. it was my friend who called me and said I need a hacker. It was like I was a good hacker.
So just wait for the phone call, everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, towards the end of my second job, like I was gearing up for trying to, be a consultant, trying to do something on my own out there so that I could work on side projects, because by then I did want to be an entrepreneur, right? It was like, when you get to some degree of proficiency as a programmer, like you can build anything in the world. Like you can do whatever you want to do. And what I was doing at my second job was I was a consultant for rich traders, basically. Your friends from Boston at Lehman Brothers.
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah, they're not very nice people, by the way. They would tell me, at least, unlike Tell Labs, they would tell me when my code was sucking for them. But yeah, it was. I was gearing up, like I wanted to go off, learn, do my own thing as a consultant, and I got a phone call. Like I was lucky. Like one of the most important things I think we can do to start something like this, to be an entrepreneur, is just to make friends, just like engage with your friends.
So what is something they could get started doing right now while they're still at school? Is that basically just go out and party? Like basically stop, take a bunch of gut classes.
Partying is very important.
2 point something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like,
Successful alum, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah. One of my biggest mistakes in my 20s, I think, was that I didn't party enough. It's like, I'm not.
We're recording this, right?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah. No, I would go home and I would program, and I programmed way too much, and I got good at my job, right? But like I said, I got lucky. One of my friends called me and said he wanted me to do this thing, but like, you gotta have most people like you should have more friends. Like you should engage, be vulnerable in the world.
Man, okay, so learn to code, go party, and do you think there are amazing resources here now at the university that probably weren't there when you were here in terms of entrepreneurship clubs, entrepreneurship innovations. You guys put this all together. Like, are there resources that you think even online that folks should be taking advantage of if they're at all interested in getting into tech?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the important things to know about programming is that it's just a skill, and like you don't have to be that smart to do it. That's just the way it is. It's like you can learn to cook or whatever. Like it's just a skill. Like you just practice it over and over again. And there's so many free resources out there. It's crazy. It's the Code Academy or whatever. I don't know all of them actually, but there's a lot. Like you don't have to pay anything. You need a laptop. It doesn't even have to be an expensive laptop, and you can learn to build anything.
And great developers don't have every function in the world memorized. They just know how to use Google and Stack Overflow.
I mean, at this point, it's Stack Overflow.
Yeah, but really, like spoiler, really.
Yeah, I can't imagine how easy college must be now that you have Stack Overflow.
You can find all the problem sets are just all there waiting for you. But you're only cheating yourself, guys. Really, am I crazy to say everyone should at least give programming a go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, I am crazy?
No, they should give it a go.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like there's a special kind of person who's going to go work on the search algorithms at Google, right? I mean, they're a special kind of genius programmer.
Right.
Most of the software out there sucks because it's not made for human beings to understand. And so, even if you don't think that you're a math genius or you're this great technical guy, it's like you can learn to program, I promise you, and then the fact that you didn't think you were a math genius or you didn't think you were a great technical person is going to make you better at making the software more human, which is, at PlanGrid, that's our biggest success, is that like, we've got these really smart foremans, superintendents, guys building real buildings who barely know how to use email. So like, our thing has to be easy to use. It's like, we've got a lot of technology in our product now, but like, number one fundamental requirement is it's easy to use.
Let's talk about PlanGrid then, because
Sure.
what I loved about this, and full disclosure, I am an investor, so I'm very biased. But what's so wild about this is you guys were so, this is pretty audacious, right? This is replacing blueprints, which seem like kind of a solved problem, right? Okay, paper and stuff gets drawn on it, but in an age where we're looking at so many things on a tablet or a mobile device, it must have been a bit of a surprise to come into some of these, or it must have been a bit of a shock for some of these foremen to have some geeks walking in and saying, hey, listen, we're going to replace this thing that you guys have used in your industry for hundreds of years, thousands of years, with something on a tablet that you saw on that Apple commercial last week.
Yeah, no, and to say they were skeptical is an understatement, because this paper, this thing is easy for them to understand. Like, it's this thing that they've been using forever. And they've used a lot of bad software. They've tried to use it, and they've discarded it instantly. And so, it was, a tough sell initially. Initially, one of the ways that we bootstrapped is we gave people free iPads. We said, here, have this cool new iPad and use our software. That's one of the tricks.
What would happen if you caught them using it for Angry Birds? Instead, you come back in a week, and it's like, oh yeah, I love it, thanks for the iPad, and it's just Angry Birds.
Well, we called them constantly.
Yeah. Well, so how do you get over that skepticism, right? Because this is for so many founders, this is a really hard start because you're trying to solve a problem for a very, at least early on, a niche audience, and you guys had some domain expertise.
Right. So the PlanGrid, we have 4 founders, 2 construction engineers, 2 computer hackers, and the thing that I always say is if the two hackers would have tried to build PlanGrid on our own, it would have been this very pretty, like easy to use thing that nobody wanted to use, right? Because I don't know anything about construction, or I didn't, it's past tense. I didn't know anything about construction, like hanging a picture frame straight on my wall. It's like construction.
Which is no small feat,
Which is still a challenge.
Cursed quite a bit and bloodied quite a few thumbs doing that.
Yeah. So, and then on the other hand, like our two construction engineers, like if they would have tried to build the software without programmers, it would have been a disaster as well. So it's like this marriage, and that every day for the first 3 months, it's like I would have a conversation with Ryan and Tracy, our construction engineers, like teach me about software, teach me about construction, tell me, what were you doing every day, and then I have to translate that into some software that actually works.
Well, and to your point, it seems like, there are a lot of engineers, there are a lot of bright minds who can write code, who want to build the next Snapchat. They want to build the next way to share selfies, which is fine.
That's cool.
That's fine, it's great.
Yeah.
But what's an advantage about going into such an unsexy industry? I mean, there are so many bright young minds who are trying to get into the next Snapchat or trying to build the next Snapchat. How much legit competition do you guys actually have?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, not that much. I mean, there are a lot of medium-ish things that with old crappy software are trying to compete with us, and they're failing.
Well, and I like this because I worry that founders get too caught up in the sort of the headline stories. Do you have some advice to give about some of those unsexy industries, or
Yeah.
Because there's so many problems that still need to be solved.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, software is eating the world, and that includes the construction world, the pharmacy world, the whatever world, and just part of what I said a few minutes ago about making friends, engaging with the world. It's like I have friends who are construction engineers, and one of the canonical pieces of advice of Silicon Valley is to solve a problem that you know. And so I'm a computer hacker. Like in my 20s, the problems that I knew were like girls, finding fun stuff to do, and computers. Like that was it. So my friend Ryan, very similar, girls, finding fun stuff to do, and then construction. It's like, so I feel like the canonical piece of advice, it should be a little bit different. It's like, it can also be your friend's problems, right? It can also be, somebody else. Go learn something. Go meet people on the other side of campus, right? There's a million problems to be solved with software, and it's kind of nice to have our users are these super smart professional users with a checkbook. And so it is a lot easier for us to be a real business, to be a sexy business in terms of investors in Silicon Valley, because we've got this class of users who are they're professionals. You must have Boilermakers come to you for advice, not just for getting into tech, but more broadly with life stuff. Is there some advice you would give to your younger self? Obviously, there's go out and party. Do you think there's so code a little less, party a little more? Does my GPA thing ring true? Do you think it's? I mean, I don't want to tell everyone just to bomb all their classes, but how do you decide? A couple of you want me to, but maybe. Well, how do you decide to make that decision? And then what's just general sort of life advice that you've culled together over the years? Yeah, I mean, GPA doesn't matter.
Okay.
To me.
There you go.
Anymore. It just doesn't matter. It mattered when I was in college, but just because I didn't see the future, right? It's like you get out of Purdue and it just doesn't matter. Maybe. And so
professors are gonna love us.
Yeah. So do more stuff that you love. Going back to that other piece of advice, truly engage with your friends, meet them as a human being. The thing that your advisors will tell you is to be enhance your professional network at Purdue, right? Because you never know where you're gonna need it. And it's more just make friends with the most amazing, interesting people in your life. It's meet them, truly meet them, on a special level. That's the way to do it. That's the way to live life. And that's what I did. And I only did it a couple of times in my 20s, and I was very lucky that one of them wanted to start PlanGrid. Yeah.
Well, and actually, let's talk about PlanGrid for a minute then too. I presume you guys are hiring because every startup in tech is hiring. Do you guys have internships, jobs, and if any of these wonderful people are interested, how do they get in touch?
Kenny@plangrid.com.
So they can just email you straight up.
Just email me, yeah, and I'll get back to you. You know, and we're always hiring smart Boilermakers. We have one so far.
It's gonna change the ratio. You don't have any Hoosiers though, right?
I mean, definitely not.
That's good. Yes, that was a definitely not. Just to be clear.
I have a Gmail filter.
God.
Nice. And you know, surely there are easier things to do. You've had a couple of jobs where you're working for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
There are easier things to do than running a company. Because there are some mornings when you wake up and you do not want to deal with the day, right? But what gets you out of bed and what makes you want to keep doing this as opposed to going back to one of those nice, comfortable jobs?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard some days when the servers are crashing or whatever, but you know, one of the things that we do is everyone at PlanGrid, we talk to our users, we go on job visits, and like when you're a part of something like that's real and that's working, like it's just amazing. Like it makes all of the pain and it makes all of the stress worth it. It just does. It's just like, you know, our users are building some of the coolest buildings in the world. They send us pictures, they send us compliments, and you know, you feel like you're living life with a purpose. And when you're living life with a purpose, like you're willing to push your boundaries. You're willing to like push those edges, deal with the stress, and yeah.
So do you walk around cities now and you're like, PlanGrid building?
Absolutely, I totally like.
That's fucking awesome.
Look out my office in San Francisco, and you can just see the tower cranes, and you can just be like, yeah, we've got all the tower cranes in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Pretty cool.
Damn, man, look, it all comes back to the Boilermaker tradition. I love it. Could not have planned this better.
That's right.
That's so awesome. All right, well, guys, please clap up for Kenny. All right. I love it. Thank you so much, Kenny. Thank you. Yeah. One of your own, guys, and I will hope, Kenny, are you down to stick around a little bit after this and talk to folks? Excellent. So Kenny's going to stick around. I have one last slide. It's not my fire slide. You already saw that. It's this one, and it harkens back to a time when video games used to be hard. You got to trust me. It used to be hard, okay? And back then, I noticed when I was on my last life, I played a lot harder, right? Because the game was going to reset. And one of the things I couldn't help but notice was this is just like life. I mean, notwithstanding resurrection and reincarnation, obviously, we are all playing with 0 lives remaining. And so, you know, given the fact that we're even here at Purdue, talking about what we're talking about at this moment in time in history, it puts us in a position of tremendous fortune and privilege and responsibility. And so I hope all of this stuff comes to fruition. I hope the internet lives up to its full potential. I hope every one of you reaches your maximum potential for awesome, and I hope millions more will get to as well. But like I said, none of it is guaranteed, and it's up to us to make sure it happens. So please help me do that. And then whatever it is you do, all right, whether you're gonna IPO in 10 years, or whether you're gonna win a Nobel Prize, look, just let me know, or give me a shout out. That's all I want, it's a little shout out, because I wanna take all of the credit. Take all the credit for it. Thank you very much, Boilermakers. Thank you, guys. One more thing. This is my Steve Jobs impression. All right, now listen. The only way we can pull off 77 universities across the country, and Canada, our hat, is because of students just like you who put on these amazing events. So we have 77 limited edition banners from without their permission that we've awarded to every single one of the student organizers who put this together. So could all the students, all you guys who made this possible, come up here so we can all clap for you. I can give you this flag. Yeah, everyone come up here. We'll take a photo. It's gonna be great. We'll be like a selfie. because I still hate lines. Every one of you who got a book, good news, it's already been signed. So you guys all have a signature. I got here early, signed every one of them. But if you'd like it personalized, if you want to take a selfie, no lines, just text hi to this number. So we made an app for that. So if you text hi to this number, it's like a deli counter. You'll get a number. When it's your turn, you'll get buzzed. You don't have to wait in line. So you can talk to Kenny. You can talk to each other. You can plan your company, your hackathon, your Kickstarter, whatever it is. And then when it's your turn, you'll get buzzed. You'll come on up. We'll talk. We'll take a photo. It's going to be awesome. By the way, I promised a t-shirt cannon. Some of you may have heard reports of t-shirt cannon. And I am pleased to announce that we have not only a t-shirt cannon, but double the payload, because we have shirts not only from our tour, but also the Entrepreneurship Innovation Club. So there's a lot of shirts here, and my friend Asa has an important message. Asa, how you doing? Oh, there's a microphone over there for you. How you doing, man?
Hello.
What's
I'm
up,
good.
Asa?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right, man. I think they're looking forward to some shirts, but you should probably tell them about your condition.
Man, I don't understand why you got to bring this up all the time.
Well, I just I
don't like
feel like
thinking
they should
about it.
know.
That's the only thing.
No, it's fine. You can talk. You guys are okay with this, right? It's kind of personal, but all right, come on, man. Come on.
The thing is, I have a hearing problem.
A hearing problem?
A hearing problem.
So what does that mean?
It means the only way I know where to shoot is if you guys make some noise.
So they have to make some noise?
So you guys got to make some noise.
What do you got, Boilermakers? Nice, excellent catch. Bravo, upper deck.
I feel like he takes somebody out.
I think the Hoosiers were louder.